The NHL officially has itself a rat infestation. We might play the entire Rat with 2 T's catalog because it's Rat-mageddon in the jungle. These dudes, they're so good. Those rats earned every single piece of cheese. Praise.
Rat poison.
That they're going to get today. And seriously, could they be any more rat-like than they are? They're gritty, they're tough, they're relentless, and they are led by a rat king. And they just seem like they're everywhere all the time. Like you turn around, there's like 10 more rats. It's the very epitome and definition of a rat infestation. There are rats, red sweaters everywhere. I mean, what a pack. What a buzzsaw of a hockey team. A pack of rats. These dudes are so good. They're so good, they're so tough that they made going to 3 straight Stanley Cup finals and winning 2 of them look relatively easy. As easy as you can make the most difficult thing to do in all sports look. Let's put it that way. Now, on the flip side of that, the Oil are truly an example of how tough it is to get your name on that cup. Even if you have a couple of the all-time greats. I mean, even if you had one of the all-time greats, much less 2 of the all-time greats. And yes, I know in the end, Connor McJesus and Leon Draisaitl did not have the best ending to a cup final. And as a result, they're both getting Halliburtoned on X right now. Judging by social media today, you would think that both these dudes were complete, overrated frauds. You know, like Hallie, allegedly. I mean, obviously, it's all so ridiculous. Just like Hallie, you can't take away Leon's incredible 4 overtime goals in these playoffs, including 2 in the cup final alone. You can't take away the fact that McDavid and Draisaitl both had 33 points in 22 playoff games, which was 10 more points than anybody else had in the postseason. And if you're out here slandering McDavid right now, you're flinging lava at the first player to ever have 90 or more points in 9 straight seasons, but not win the cup in any of those years. You see, the greatness of these 2 dudes is not in question. Never was. But you know what is in question? The freaking goaltending situation for Edmonton. Yo, Edmonton, maybe work on getting a goalie, considering you don't have a goalie. Maybe you want a goalie working behind 2 of the best players in the world. Just a thought. You know what they always say? If you have 2 goalies, you really don't have 1. 2 notes, actually, for you, Edmonton. 1, get a goalie. 2, do a better job of getting up for these games. Do a better job of being ready when these games start. And here's yet another hint. The game starts when the puck drops. The game does not start in the first intermission. The game starts when they drop the puck. You can't beat a great team when you're down multiple goals in the first period, at the end of the first period, every single night. When you've got guys in the penalty box in the first period, every single night. That's not how you beat a great team. But not my takeaways. In fact, you know what I wonder? I wonder exactly what Leon Draisaitl has to say about this. What was his big takeaway from this series?
The takeaway is that we didn't win. Nobody cares. Like, nobody cares. We didn't win. So, gonna try again next year.
Perfect. So, Leon, what's your big takeaway? They got you again. The big takeaway? The big takeaway. The big takeaway is we didn't win. And nobody gives a damn about anything else.
Nobody cares. Like,
nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Like, see you next year. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Nobody cares.
We didn't win, so...
We didn't win.
Nobody cares.
What does it matter? What are we talking about?
We didn't win.
Why are you asking me what my big takeaway is?
Nobody cares.
My big takeaway? We lost.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
We didn't win, so...
See you next year. I've got no problem with that. Honestly. You might think that I'd be... Oh, hey, man, answer the question. Hey, man up. Hey, man, tip your hat. I actually love it. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
All they care is, he said scoreboard.
Nobody cares.
Literally, we got our asses kicked. Nobody
We didn't win,
cares.
so
I mean, taking it about as well as you might expect after losing to these rats
good try again
for a
next year.
second year in a row. And unlike last year, where Edmonton did fall behind 3-0 and then roared back to force the seventh game, that series was competitive. By comparison, this was more of an ass beating. In fact, and this stat is pretty incredible, Florida led for 255 minutes and 49 seconds of this cup final. That is the most time any team has ever spent in the lead in a cup final. If it weren't for some incredible comeback antics from Edmonton, this really might have been one of the more one-sided finals we've ever seen, as opposed to one of the best finals that we'd ever seen, like we thought we were getting after 3 games. But no comeback vibes, not last night. It was a party essentially from the time Matthew Tkachuk scored at the end of the first period to make it 2-0. At that point, I don't think there was a person left in the world who thought that Edmonton was going to make it back and win this game, much less win this series. Not even in Edmonton. Not even on the Edmonton bench. Tkachuk may as well have just called series when he ripped that wrister. And speaking of my man, Matthew Tkachuk, as if this dude could get any more legendary, he casually tells us after the game about the serious injuries that he played throughout the playoffs.
Do you think the average fan has any idea what you went through, and what did you go through?
I tore my adductor off the bone, and that had some hernia thing, and all on the same side, and wanted to throw in the towel a bunch of times. I'm sure I got to thank a lot of people, for getting me healthy enough. I'm sure I wasn't the easiest to deal with. My fiance did a great job at the house on days where I probably wasn't in the best mood coming to the rink. The trainers, maybe when I wasn't in the best mood, when I was in pain. I just owe them so much, the doctors.
Wait, what? He tore his adductor off the bone and had, quote, some hernia thing, end of quote, and he played through all that? Look, as somebody who personally had 2 hernia things, I can tell you the idea of playing through the NHL playoffs with any hernia thing sounds basically like torture. And that's not even getting into the adductor being torn off the bone. Hell, just getting out of bed to take a leak with the hernia things was torture. How this dude was playing in the NHL with the hernia things and the adductor bone thing is insane. Even for an NHLer. Even for NHLers who make the insane the routine. What a psycho. And what a perfect example of the rat mentality of this pack of rats. Another great example of these rats, Conn Smythe winner, Alvin's guy, Bennett. Sam Bennett. Bennett really won the playoff MVP. My man scored 25 goals in the regular season. Not bad. But then he pumped in 15 more in the postseason. Bennett just took his game to an entirely different level in the postseason. There's leveling up, and then there's that. This dude is such a stud. Even the Stanley Cup itself was trying to tongue him. At Stanley Cup, quote, Sam Bennett, come kiss me without mustache. The cup is trying to get nice with him. I'm really happy for Bennett, but I would have been just as happy with the Rat King himself winning the Conn Smythe. Because it's pretty hard to imagine how Brad Marchand could have possibly been any better for this team. That has got to be one of the single best trade deadline moves in NHL history. And when you add the rat factor, in, I think it might actually be the best trade in NHL history. If that's possible, because that's the best possible fit. If anybody deserved their second cup after a 16-year wait, it's that Rat King. The Rat King also confirmed the fuel that the Rat Fan was running on. It had been suspected, it had been speculated, and it might surprise you, but it does not surprise me at all. Turns out, Rat Fam was doing stops at Dairy Queen in Edmonton the night before Games 2 and Game 5. And they won both those games. So, of course, they ran that back. They ran back some DQ on Monday before Game 6. Look at these dudes. Just chilling, fueling up at the DQ. There's the proof. There they are. Pro athletes on the eve of one of the biggest games of their entire lives, trying to complete a third straight trip through the entire Stanley Cup playoffs, trying to go back-to-back and lift the cup again, and getting straight premium rocket fuel. The DQ. And not just the DQ, but, of course, a DQ blizzard. Love to see it. The Rat King was even bragging about it after the game.
Rat, you need a blizzard out of the cup or what?
Eddie, undefeated with blizzards. We won last night.
Oh, yeah?
That's a hot take.
Let's go.
My man, that's legendary. That's no hot take. That's not a hot take. That's a true take and a legendary take, but not a hot take. Not if you know anything about DQ. And they didn't even really have the real thing. They didn't have the real DQ. I mean, a DQ in Edmonton? A DQ in South Florida? Psst, please. Wait until they see how the DQ hits in Wisco. Seriously, imagine if these rats had access to a Wisconsin Dairy Queen. They would never lose another game. What they really need to do is eat the Wisco DQ out of the Stanley Cup. You want to turn an entire group of the toughest dudes ever into a bunch of double rainbow guys. Feed them Wisco DQ out of the cup. I've got the spot. I had the DQ. It's in Eagle River. I know. I've been there. Changed my life. In fact, so much so I've got a standing offer for you.
Oh my God, it's so bright.
Hey, y'all. I know y'all get one day with the cup. You can meet up with me in Wisco in 2 weeks. We can do it together. If the Panthers, or any of the Panthers, or some of the Panthers, meet me in Wisco with the cup, we'll fill it up with Dairy Queen. And then, once we do that, I'll do my first live Instagram. Then I will reinstate the Rat Family live on the gram as we eat Blizzard out of the cup. Are there any Panthers that are going to have that cup that falls in my 2-week window? Get your rat ass to Wisconsin. We go to the DQ. We load that bad boy up with a Blizzard. And we'll bring back the Rat Fam. And we'll do it from my dock on Cranberry. I promise. Really, these rats, thing is, they don't really need me to reinstate the Rat Fam. I mean, I will. But they pretty much reinstated it themselves. They brought the Rat Fam back with a rat dynasty. And now it's once again the year of the rat. And hot rat summer. It's a rat's world, and we're all just living in it. That's rat with 2 T's. That's Paven with 1 V. That's Gaetti with 2 T's. Because if not for these rats, the ones I just referenced, and the others that I'm not going to reference, I don't know that any of this would even be possible right now. Because as with most things, everything eventually comes around. In fact, it goes round and round. These rats, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why, DQ. I mean, heart, talent, grit, coaching, culture, organization, but mostly DQ. Hey, fellas, one of you has got to have access to that cup. I'm vacationing from, I don't know, right around the 4th of July. I don't know what day it is, but you know that when I do get to the lake, it's always for the 4th of July. I'm sure my man Tony Granato will be there. Tony's always there for the parade. Tony will participate. I bet Tony can help me get the cup there. I hate to call in a favor. Anyway, that's my standing offer. If all of you are crediting and running on DQ fuel, DQ hits totally different in the Midwest. Totally different in Wisco. Bring the cup to Eagle River. We will eat out of the cup, and I will reinstate the family, and we'll do Instagram Live from my dock. Family. Can't wait.